Hello, my name is Hope from the platform of eSeniors.org. eSeniors is a non-for-profit organization that provides virtual companion for seniors from ECC and above. Virtual companion is basically designed to provide emotional support for seniors who feel lonely and isolated from their communities. And this is done remotely through the usage of video chat technology. So today, I want to especially welcome you all to today's book reading section. We have been reading a book from Alex Ageye titled The Unexpected Joy Are Done. We've done several chapters, so we're going to be starting off from where we stopped. Listen as I read. The evening, Neil observed with relief that the huge amount of traffic that had besieged the railway line early that morning had eased. The carpenters who worked along the long alley running between the two lines of building had packed off. It was getting dark, and the red bulb was shining on a pole behind his house. It showed through the broken wall into the room. Despite the refilling of potholes on the street by the side of his house, the potholes had formed again. The red earth used for the refilling job had gone with the wings. On the walls along the road, the escaping soil had smelled the paint. The house itself, with its familiar outline of overlapping painted wire boards, stood innocently under the nine tree. It was swayed between the road and the railway line. Neil had rented one of the rooms 3 years ago. For the second time that day, he cleared the cable and hunted the mosquitoes. Smoke seeped gradually into the room, and he opened the door to allow in some fresh air. Two men stood behind the door, smoking. He refrained from talking to them. It would be no use, he felt. The two had threatened to beat him once when he asked them not to smoke by his door. Martha lay on the bed with when Neil walked in. She was inching painfully. Smoke, smoke, he said to Martha. Let's get out. Let's get out. Her head was hanging on the plastic chamber pot. Neil walked out. He went past the two men who had been smoking in front of his door. When he looked in the dark alley, the group that had been there had left. He walked back. The two men walked away. The small room was poorly ventilated despite the extra window created by the broken wall. Martha was moaning again, so he walked to her side. Are you all right? He asked. I have a little pain in my ribs. She always played down the extent of pain. She always played down the extent of her pains. He nodded to acknowledge her complaint. He held the top of the mattress under her ribs and ran his finger over a hard lump on her left side just under the rib cage. The straw mattress was old and had become quite flattened with stress. The surface had become very hard. When I tried to turn towards the wall, she resumed, a mouse A mouse ran this way, so I had to turn back to face the door. The bird pressed painfully in my side, then she indicated the side that hurt. She squeaked with pain. Neil watched her anxiously. A small stick lay under the bed. He knelt down to pick it up. A mouse jumped out from somewhere and he took a step back, nearly falling. The mouse ran through the hole in the wall. Mother laughed softly at the gymnastics going on before her. The pouring laughter of the alien woman comforted her man exceedingly. I thought they had all died. What a brother! What a bother! He said, laughing too. They trapped not less than 4 of the vermin last week. You wait and see. I will eliminate them all. I will buy a second mouse trap. If I could close the wall in the wall. If I could close the hole in the wall. Neil, you will not have to fight mice or mosquitoes. Maza responded. Neil was all smiles. He began to fan him with a hard book of cover. While she spoke, he continued nodding and smiling. Neil had not had a full night's sleep in a long time. Some days, his entire night's sleep asked only a few minutes. The rest of the time, he watched over his alien Clover, though she protested and asked him to go to sleep. He realized that he slept light and always awake at the slightest sound. Hanging on top of the table was a framed inscription which read, "Wish peace, feel peace." Before he sat on the chair beside the table, Neil read the inscription to remind him of the peace he needed. The night wore on, and he was having the soundest sleep in a long time. Suddenly, he started shouting his dream. Blackness is not enough. Blackness enough. 3 stripes only. Maza moaned and whined, and Neil came around with a start. He jumped over to his lover and asked anxiously, "Hey, Maza." He jumped over to his lover and asked anxiously, "Hey, Maza, are you all right?" He was quite sleepy. It was the turn of Maza to worry. "Are you well?" she asked in return. He blinked several times. In a deep tone that was rather unfamiliar to him, he replied, "I'm fine." "You have been worrying of late, haven't you?" he asked. Neil was as pained to reply in a manner that did not cause Maza any undue anxiety. But Maza persisted. "And it's the alien issue. Is it the alien issue? Has anyone threatened you?" He did not want his issue to be a topic of discussion because him and Maza, it would worsen her condition. He did not want his issue to be a topic of discussion between him and Maza. It would worsen her condition. He was very perturbed, but Maza would not give up. "Tell me, Neil, she resumed. I have been watching you closely of late. You've been showing serious signs of worry. You've never have talked about these stripes and colors in your sleep unless she paused to catch her breath, which had been coming in weak puffs of excretion. You're thinking about them, aren't you? No, she finished. There's nothing the matter, nothing at all to worry about. I guess I'm a little tired, that's all. You were talking about aliens the other day in your sleep and today too. You have done the same, adding blackness and stripes. What will you be doing next? Last time you were afraid of deportation. She put her hand in his lap. Neil seems to have given in as he took her hand. The news in the paper is bad. Maza is stirring xenophobic feelings in the people, even in my office. The government may be checking about measures, but you see, Maza tribal marks, I can't hide them. Oh God. Forget that, Neil. Maza intervened. In Ghana, there are hundreds of tribes with varied, and she swallowed hard as she struggled with some deep emotions. Her steady eyes put a watchful Neil at dubious ease. He did not imagine that she could speak with such enthusiasm. Master, please forget it. I won't talk about it again, and you will stay a Ghanaian. I will do the best. Tears swelled down his eyes. He was surprised to realize how deeply he thought about his being in exile. Mother suddenly became ill again, as she wished. Neil was very worried. He feared that he had got her into frenzy. Mother was a strong Pan-African. He was aware that she had belonged to the African Unity Club in her school days. He recalled telling her sometime in the past that she was an idealist, a sort of revival Marcus gave. He wanted to tell her that again, as her head hung over the chamber pot. He sighed. Mother had been her goddess at school. Her words strengthened him. We are Africans, she said, and we are one fine piece. And where one finds peace, there is one's home also. Neil had to draw ever close to her to catch her words, which were coming in a whisper. Before Maza, Neil was a suckling. Not even her sickness changes that order. Nkrumah would have loved to have you in his cabinet. I bet, Maza. He have paid to make you his ambassador plenipotentiary. These were great words, which were not lost of Maza. Her hands were resting once more, and her reflexes were weak. Neil waited. He did not want to contemplate what had come over her. They sat together in silence for a long time. The oil boom provided a big boost to the construction industry. Never in the life of the country had there been opportunities for people to become so rich so fast. The slump on the world market, however, was beginning to show. The price of oil had plunged down at an unprecedented rate. The spread To spread the effect evenly among oil-producing countries, production targets were being set by OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Mama maintained a strong lobby among some of the country's politicians, and building contracts started coming her way. She had she had 6 contracts lined up. The signpost in front of her headquarters read Mama Sansi Group of Companies. Her prominence in the Ijesha area was owing to her being the first to build there, and her company had constructed more than half of the houses there too. Not long before, an oil refinery had been built just as the outskirts of Ijesha suburb. Then 3 primary and 2 secondary schools were built, emphasizing the growing importance of Ijeshi. Mama had got most of the contracts. Nippon Telecom had planned a 10-story office block at the center of Ijesha, but the contract went to another construction company. The sitting of many important companies in the northern suburb increased the vehicular traffic flowing to and fro Ijesha. Half the road contract got awarded to Mama's company. Mama had Mama had many contracts in other parts of Lagos, and for a while she had only one building project in Ijesha. Her other contracts were spread throughout Lagos. She built half junior staff quarters of Entelas at Lagos Island, and she had another contract to renovate a building at Yaba behind the Technology College. There were one project that was very dear to her, a confectionery that she was building in memory of her mother. The building and ovens would be completed within the week. Her supermarket at Martin Street earned her a large income. To keep up sales, she employed only extremely beautiful and very educated ladies. The manageress of the supermarket was a very attractive 30-year-old Berlin. The suburb grew fast and sprung. It was well laid with few streets. Armed robbers made the residents stay awake continually and keep watch. Rams were put on the main Ijeshi streets to trap the robbers, as well as check the speed of vehicles plying the road. Mama house was near the main Soba Street, number 4 Sabo Street, Ijeshi. It was a big compound house that had a wall round it. Her own apartment was 2 stories high and was connected directly by the wall, such that part of the wall formed a coronium of unique fence from the section of the other two flats, which were also hers. A staircase led from the upper unfinished floor to the outside. The second floor was largely uncompleted, and the windows and the doors were yet to be fixed. The ground floor, where she lived, had a sitting room, 3 bedrooms, a bathhouse, and a kitchen. Opposite the story blocks was the older section of the property. This was divided into flats. They were rented quarters. From her door, Mama watched the slim lady cross the compound. A tin of sardine fell from the back pack of wares she carried. She watched the hawker return to pick up the fallen item. She was obviously exhausted after her missionary work in Ilera. Her immediate concern was her construction business. The foreman had reported that Daily Sand and Stone Limited had not delivered any of the 6 trips of sand ordered from them. She walked back to the sitting room and sat on the sofa, took a calculator and checked some figures in the estimate of the ongoing project. Thought of her desire to travel and preparations for the journey were consuming her. 600 naira in 20 naira notes was lying on the sofa beside her. Her next job was to insert the notes in the back cover of the Bible. She hollowed the inside of the cover of the Bible with a knife, leaving a half an inch margin on each of the 4 sides. The job was finished in 30 minutes. Having glued the edges, she placed 15 of the notes in the hollow of each of the 2 covers of her Bible. 2 pieces of the success card that she had cannibalized lay on the floor. She put one each on top of the note she had fixed inside the Bible. She secured the edges carefully with glue. She ran her palm over the card to smooth the surface and make it sticky. Then she glued the little page on the inside cover. She did the same for the end page of the Holy Bible. In the end, the Bible bugged, so she put it on a wooden chair and sat on it. After a few minutes, she brought down a heavy box, placed it on top of the Bible, and left it there. She wondered what else she would need for the journey. She would, of course, need provision, some milk, 10 fish, and sugar. She would also take along a length of suiting materials for her brother and a 10-meter cloth for the old landlord and surrogate father of his brother. She walked to the door. Power had been restored and the living room light had come on. The big yellow gate of the compound opened, and Idim, the slim lady who had displayed her wares behind the house, entered the house. Her husband was with her. These two were always the last tenants to go to bed in the compound. Idim sold cigarettes. She made large sales each day. The volume of construction work in the area brought many workers to the sub and provided Eden business great patronage. Her husband was a shift worker in one of the many printing houses at Mafoluku, which was far away from Ijese. Watchu was the name. Her husband Wachu was his name. Husband and wife were always at odds with each other. Idem's complaint was that Wachu could provide only a third of the needs of the home, even though he left home at 4 a.m. each day in order to get to work in time and always return late. That evening, Wachu told Idem a long story. When he finished his story, he added nonchalantly, "The oga don work sack me for now. The oga don wan sack me for now. Wetin you do?" asked Idem. "Today na bad day," he answered, continuing, "Na motor now. So me I don go for work late now. Oga don vex for me proper, so I beg am before 12 don catch now." He call me, den he talk me say, "Wachu, make you now do extra work." "Extra work?" exclaimed Idem, not amused at all. "Yes so Idem, na so extra 2 hours. So I don thank oga. I go try come work early now. I no sack me again." Wachu smiled. 2 hours of extra work offered an agreeable compromise to Wachu. However, it would mean he would come home even late. His wife did not hide his suspicion. He told Wachu to the face that he was at some trick and was only trying to make more time pass his visit to other women. She called them worthless and shameless sluts, and her husband a humanizer. But Wachu did not get angry. He handed to Adam a copy of the document he and his boss had signed to formalize his new work schedule. A part of the agreement, Wachu accepted to report for work regularly. If he reported late for work, he would lose 10% of his wages. Idem was silent. Whew. This is where we are going to be ending today's book reading section. Thank you so much for your active listening. Till we meet again in the next one. Thanks and bye bye.